In this lesson, we are going to recap how to sketch quadratics. A quadratic is an equation that contains x squared as the highest power of x. So if we're sketching a quadratic, we need to follow a set of instructions. So the first thing I need to do is determine the shape of the quadratic. So if the coefficient of x squared is positive, for example, if I have x squared or 2x squared or 3x squared, then I know my shape is going to be a U shape, so like a happy face. If the coefficient of x squared is negative, for example, minus x squared or minus 2x squared, then I know it's going to be an N shape, so a sad face. Then I determine the y-intercept. So if my quadratic is written out in the form ax squared plus bx plus c, then c is just the y-intercept. So if I have y equals x squared plus 2x minus 3, then the y-intercept is just minus 3. Now I need to determine the x-intercepts. So to do this, what I do is I put my whole quadratic equal to 0 and I solve it. So I know how to solve a quadratic. I can do it by factorising, I can do it by completing the square, or I can do it by the quadratic formula. Factorising is the easiest, but it doesn't always work. However, if it's a non-calculator exam or question, then it's nearly always going to be a factorisation. The quadratic formula is the easiest way that works every single time. I put a copy of the quadratic formula here. Then, if specifically asked in the question, you may need to label the maximum or minimum point. To do this, we need to write and complete a square form. So if the question asks for this, then it probably makes sense in step 3 for you to use the completed square to solve the quadratic. So if I have my completed square form, then I can find the maximum and minimum. So if I have x minus 2 all squared plus 3, then the minimum is just 2, 3. Finally, I just sketch it. So I join up all the points that I've labelled and I know the shape. So let's look at an example. The first thing I need to do is decide the shape. So I've got a positive x squared. So I know it's going to be a U shape. Now the y-intercept. So my quadratic's all written out, so I know that this is the y-intercept. Now the x-intercepts. So I put my quadratic equal to 0. Now I can see that this is going to factorise quite nicely because I can do x minus 3, x plus 1. So I know that my two x-intercepts are x equals 3 or x equals minus 1. If I want to label the minimum, let's pretend that the question has asked me that. Then I need to write this in completed square form. So I do b divided by 2, so that's going to be 1. Take away the square of that, and take away my 3. So I know the minimum is 1 minus 4. So now I can sketch. So I'm going to draw some nice straight axes. Label my axes, label my origin. So I know I go through minus 1 and 3. I know that my y-intercept is minus 3. I'm going to label my minimum, which is 1 minus 4. I hope you've found this video useful and let me know if you have any questions.